Friends and viewer, William Shakespeare had written Hamlet, one of the greatest tragedy of all time. So in this drama, we see Hamlet, the tragic hero, while he was alone, he started to say about the life, about the absurdity of life, about the question of existence. So, Hamlet, this is called the soliloquy and most famous passage in literature. Let me read out that soliloquy for you. Here, Hamlet says, "To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether this nobler in the mind to suffer, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the hard ache and the thousand natural shocks, that flesh is here too, this a consummation devotedly to be wished, to die to sleep perchance to dream. Ah, there is the rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There is the respect that makes calamity of so long life, for who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietness make with the beer bodkin, who would these furdles bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller's return, puzzles the will, and make us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make coward of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over the pale cast of thought. So this is the soliloquies, one of the best written in the world, of Hamlet by William Shakespeare, our tragic hero, how he soliloquized in Act 3 of Scene 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, Hamlet contemplates in this the meaning of life and death, questioning whether it's better to exist or not, to be or not to be. He weighed the pros and cons of each option, considering the suffering and hardships of life versus the unknown consequences of death. So, let us analyze these soliloquies, these lines of soliloquies. In this soliloquies, we find the existential crisis. Hamlet's soliloquy is an existential crisis where he questioned the purpose of life and whether it's worth continuing. The second, a fear of death. Hamlet fears death, but also fears the unknown consequences of death, which makes him hesitant to end his life. The suffering, the question of suffering we find in this. Hamlet highlights the suffering and hardship of life, including the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is here too. Mortality, the question of mortality is also engaged here. Hamlet confronts his own mortality, acknowledging that death is inevitable and that we have shuffled off this mortal coil. The question of uncertainty, Hamlet's uncertainty about what comes after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no travelers return, makes him hesitant to end his life. Human nature, Hamlet's soliloquy reveals human nature's tendency to prefer the familiar, even if it is unpleasant, over the unknown. Philosophical themes. The soliloquy explores philosophical themes like existentialism, nihilism, and the human condition. So, to be or not to be is a phrase, the central question of the soliloquies, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. It means the hardship and suffering of life, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no travelers return, the unknown consequences of death, to die, to sleep, no more. Hamlet's desire to escape life suffering through death. Overhaul Hamlet's to be or not to be soliloquy is a profound exploration of human existence, mortality, and the complexities of life and death. I hope you will enjoy while you read this Hamlet, the Great Tragedy by William Shakespeare. So you will enjoy this, the Hamlet, in my opinion, one of the greatest tragedy ever written. Thank you very much.